Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1349. 50. Wait. 1350. 1350. 1350. My friend, we've made it this far. And now we have a show with Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. And a segment called Do You Know Dat? We'll get to some interesting stuff you didn't know.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I had a day yesterday. Well, I'm going to talk about it. So
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I decided to go over to Pete's Coffee to eat something fattening. And then I enjoyed something really maddening, and that was they made my mocha, and it was done, but then it was taken by someone. Someone stole my mocha. They were a mocha thief.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No judgment. And they took my mocha, and I actually saw as this happened, I didn't realize it was my mocha, but I saw
Mike's
them finish it.
Daily
Because at Pete's, what they
Podcast.
do, they make it right there at the counter.
Yeah!
They're like, "Are you Mike?" And you go, "Yeah." And they go, "Okay, here, I'm putting in the espresso, the shot of espresso. I'm putting in the milk, da-da-da. Here it is. Voila. Voila! S'il vous plaît." And you're like, "Oh," and then you drink and you're happy and you're caffeinated. Well, I'm watching this guy. The drink is being made for him. And he takes it and he leaves. And I go, that drink looked a lot similar to what I got, but maybe he just ordered and he was in front of me. Look who just walked in. I'd rather have an order in front of me than a frontal hors d'oeuvre to me. What? Huh? Where are we? Who is this? Hi, Mark. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. Hi, how you doing? I'm a horse. And it's a disgruntled fiddle player, and someone else walked in, and when they did, they bumped the door in my head. Tell you what. What? Look who it is. Hi, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now. It's really good. I made it. Came right out of the press. Oh, boy. Huh? It's a root beer, all right. Yeah, I'm not going to touch it. It's a... Oh, wow. It bounced right out of the mug. And it's bouncing out the door. There it goes. Bouncing all the way down the hall. Just went through a window. Oh, what a crazy show.
Machi.
It is one show for the books today. Oh, look at this.
Here's today's podcast picture.
This would be the picture of me. It's a picture of me. Why me?
This show is about me, and it always has been.
Very funny.
I hope you like this picture. It's at the wonderful San Leandro Marina. Yes, we've had several San Leandro Marina pictures this week, I think. And that's me there, and the water's behind me. It's splashing away. And there's Basil the boxer. It's a wonderful picture. Check it out now at mikesdailypodcast.com with all these sound effects. Oh my gosh, we're like that really annoying show that's really popular in podcasts, and they play it on the weekends on NPR stations. Oh, what is it called? Sound something. Soundscape, whatever. And they move it really quickly, and it's all edited. And it's like there's not a single moment for breath. Have you heard that show? I can't even think of the name of it. Who cares? So Cafe Who Cares? It's Café Anyway.
Anyway.
But this is not that show. No, this is me talking about going to Pete's and somebody stealing my mocha. But that's not all, my friend. Oh, so I went up. How I found out it was stolen was I went up to the barista and I said, hey, because about 10 minutes had gone by. And I go, hey, have you made that mocha with whole milk and whipped cream? I know. I went fattening. My friends, I went fattening yesterday. And she said, yeah, I gave it to Mike. And I said, I'm Mike. She goes, oh, somebody stole it. This happens all the time. Wow. Cafe wow. And then I sit down and there's this lady that's been looking at me, and she's like close to my age, and she's, I think, I don't know, she's got an accent. She's from some other country, I believe. And she's kind of exotic and beautiful. And she's talking with her female friend. And she keeps looking over at me and looking at me. And I could not think of a thing to say. So I got up and left. But I came back. And no, I did not come back to Pete's. I did leave. And I thought to myself, okay, here it comes. Here's that thing that always happens to me. I call it the aftermath fuse. It's when I think of something to say, when I'm gone, when I've left the situation afterwards. It's the aftermath fuse that comes up with a funny thing to say. But nothing came up in my head. Usually it always happens. I'll be gone for about 5 minutes. I'll be driving away and I'm out of the situation. So then I think of some clever little line to say, to introduce, to break the ice. But nothing. I think I finally thought of something late in the day yesterday. Something like, ooh, this wrap I got, because they have breakfast wraps. They have a chimichurri, chimichurrito, chimichunga, something wrap, and it was very delicious. And I should have said, hey, this is really good, as I'm eating it. And she would have went, oh, I'm in love with you, Mike Matthews. You're so beautiful. Okay, yeah, I did get creepy there. But what ended up happening was I left. And that was my experience at Pete's. I hope you enjoyed my little moth. It's my moth. What do they call that? The moth talk? It's another NPR show. I don't listen to NPR that much anymore. There was a time I listened to way too much. Way too much. How do you feel Chris Thiele is doing with the Prairie Home Companion show now that Lake Wobegon man Garrison Keillor's gone? I forgot to mention Steve when I was talking about Steve, I think on the Monday show, and discussing Steve talking about Planet X and about the lunar eclipse happening this year and all that. That he sounds just like Garrison Keillor and has a very soothing voice and talks a little bit like that. Like Planet X is going to crash right into the Earth at Lake Wobegon. But he did. So that Garrison Keillor's gone. No, Garrison Keillor's alive, but he's left Lake Wobegon, or left the Prairie Home Companion. Chris Thiele's doing it. I tuned in about a week ago and I heard him on that show. Because it's supposed to be live. He was, hey, ask us to play any song and we'll play a song. You know, he's from that bluegrass band called Nickel Creek. And what was that? Punch Brothers. He had that other side project, the Punch Brothers, playing bluegrass and Americana. And you could tweet him and a request. And he went through the tweets and he goes, wow, I've had 3 tweets requesting Mbop by Hanson. We'll do that. But they didn't know the verses, so they just knew the bop da 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 part. And that's pretty much this show. Me discussing these things and complaining about NPR. But you can complain about whatever you want. You can call me at 336MM Daily. That's 336MM Daily. You can Skype with me now. I have my Mike's Daily Podcast at Gmail. I think it's just Mike's Daily Podcast on the Skype. But you can Skype with me there, or leave a message. Tell me what you think. All kinds of ways to get a hold of me. Mike's Daily Podcast at gmail.com. And let me know what you think of Pete's and if you have those after Matthews moments. And we'll get to Do You Know Dat? Oh, help out the show at mikesdailypodcast.com. The phone number to call the show is 336MM Daily. 336MM Daily. There's also a link at mikesdailypodcast.com. If you're going to shop on Amazon, click on that Amazon link and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and that helps out the show. And there's also a PayPal if you want to become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster and get a special greeting from all the Café Anyway characters. You can go to that PayPal link at mikesdailypodcast.com. Hey, let's get to the segment, Do You Know Dat?
It's Bison Bentley's Do You Know Dat? Hey, this is Bison Bentley. And Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that?
So Theresa May is kind of mad right now. She's going to confront Donald Trump over the stream of leaks and crucial intelligence about the Manchester bomb attack. She's going to meet him at a NATO summit in Brussels today. British officials were infuriated yesterday when the New York Times published forensic photographs of sophisticated bomb parts that UK authorities fear could complicate the expanding investigation into the lethal blast, in which 5 further arrests have been made in the UK, and there's 2 more arrests in Libya. It was the latest of a series of leaks to US journalists that appeared to come from inside the US intelligence community, passing on data that had been shared between the 2 countries as part of a long-standing security cooperation. And you know, our president just hates leaks.
WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks.
What? Huh? But a senior Whitehall source said these images from inside the American system are clearly distressing to victims, their families, and other members of the public. Protests have been lodged at every relevant level between the British authorities and our U.S. counterparts. They are in no doubt about our huge strength of feeling on this issue. It is unacceptable. The government does not believe the president is directly responsible for the potentially compromising leaks, but Theresa May will raise her concerns with him at the NATO summit, where she will push for the military alliance to join the coalition against Islamic State. Revealed the images that the device that killed 22 people used by Salman al-Abedi had been made with forethought and care, raising questions for investigators about how it had been constructed and by whom. Abedi had carried a metal box containing well-packed explosives, metal nuts and screws in a box, probably inside a Caramore rucksack, the leaked details showed. The device was powerful enough for shrapnel to penetrate metal doors and scar brick walls. They do know, interestingly enough, that he detonated the bomb with his left hand. Oh boy, and the rest gets really disgusting about his final moments, but we won't go into that. A U.S. Navy warship sailed within 12 nautical miles of an artificial island built up by China in the South China Sea, those artificial islands. The first such challenge to Beijing in the strategic waterway since Donald Trump took office. The officials, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the USS Dewey traveled close to the Mischief Reef in the Spratly Islands, among a string of islets, reefs, and shoals over which China has territorial disputes with its neighbors. China said its warships had warned the U.S. ship, and it lodged stern representations with the U.S. China said it remained resolutely opposed to so-called freedom of navigation operations. The U.S. patrol, the first of its kind since October, marked the latest attempt to counter what Washington sees as Beijing's efforts to limit freedom of navigation in the strategic waters. And this is also happening as Trump is seeking China's cooperation to rein in ally North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. Territorial waters are generally defined by UN convention as extending at most 12 nautical miles from a state's coastline. Now, another interesting thing having to do with the president and the government. In the midst of the 2016 presidential primary season, the FBI received a purported Russian intelligence document describing a tacit understanding between the campaign of Hillary Clinton and the Justice Department over the inquiry into whether she intentionally revealed classified information through her use of a private email server. The Russian document mentioned a supposed email describing how then Attorney General Loretta Lynch had privately assured someone in the Clinton campaign that the email investigation would not push too deeply into the matter, a conversation that, if made public, would cast doubt on the inquiry's integrity, according to the Washington Post. Current and former officials have said that document played a significant role in the July decision by James Comey, back then the FBI director, to announce on his own without Justice Department involvement that the investigation was over. That public announcement, in which he criticized Clinton and made extensive comments about the evidence, set in motion a chain of other FBI moves that Democrats now say helped Trump win the election. But according to the FBI's own assessment, the document was bad intelligence. And according to people familiar with its contents, it was possibly even a fake sent to confuse the Bureau. The Americans mentioned in the Russian document insist they do not know each other, do not speak to each other, and never had any conversations remotely like the ones described in the document. Investigators have long doubted its veracity, and by August, the FBI had concluded it was unreliable. The document obtained by the FBI was a piece of purported analysis by Russian intelligence. It referred to an email supposedly written by then chair of the Democratic National Committee, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, to Leonard Bernardo, an official with the Open Society Foundation, an organization founded by billionaire George Soros and dedicated to promoting democracy. Now, on to Sean Hannity, who probably has talked a lot about this issue, and someone that I've told you in the past, I knew way back when he got started in radio. He started at KCSB in Santa Barbara, at UC Santa Barbara, and, well, he seemed like a nice guy back then, but he turned into this bloated conservative crazy nut. And he has lost two advertisers, Cars.com and Peloton, presumably over his coverage of Seth Rich, a Democratic National Committee staffer who was murdered a year ago. Cars.com did not respond to a request for comment, this according to The Hollywood Reporter, though it issued a statement to BuzzFeed saying that after watching closely, it has decided it no longer will advertise on Hannity, which is the name of his show on Fox News. Peloton, a purveyor of exercise bikes, tweeted its decision directly to Hannity, Fox News, and others. Quote, "We directed our media agency to stop advertising on Sean Hannity's show. This will take a few days to take effect." The two advertisers made their decision one day after Media Matters for America, a liberal-leaning organization, published an article calling Hannity a, quote, bigot, a sexist, and a conspiracy theorist. The article didn't explicitly call for a boycott, though it listed more than 100 companies that advertise on Hannity. Critics say Hannity's coverage of Rich has been conspiratorial, given that authorities have called his death the result of a robbery gone wrong, while Hannity has suggested he was killed because he may have leaked DNC emails to WikiLeaks. Hannity said during a show on Tuesday that out of respect to the Rich family, he would stop discussing the killing on his show, though he emphasized he would not stop investigating the murder. He followed his show with a series of tweets on the subject, including, "Okay, to be clear, I am closer to the truth," all capitals, "than ever. Not only am I not stopping, I am working harder. Updates when available. Stay tuned." Well, finally, a newly found flaw in widely used networking software leaves tens of thousands of computers potentially vulnerable to an attack similar to the one that caused the WannaCry virus, which infected more than 300,000 computers worldwide. Cybersecurity researchers said today the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the vulnerability which could be exploited to take control of an affected computer, and urged users and administrators to apply a patch. Security company told Reuters that there were no signs yet of attackers exploiting the vulnerability in the 12 hours since its discovery was announced, but she said it had taken researchers only 15 minutes to develop malware that made use of the hole. And they said this is very, very easy to exploit. And they found more than 100,000 computers running vulnerable versions of the software Samba, free networking software developed for Linux and Unix computers. There are likely to be many more. Most of the computers found are running older versions of the software and cannot be patched. Some of the computers appear to belong to organizations and companies, but most were home users. The vulnerability could potentially be used to create a worm like the one which allowed WannaCry to spread so quick, but that would require an extra step for the attacker. They believe that North Korean hackers were behind the WannaCry malware, which encrypted data on victims' computers and demanded Bitcoin in return for a decryption key. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Next show, that was a lot. That was a heavy, heavy news day. Lots of this and that, and you did this and you did that, and accusations and implications. Spinning into infinity, saying amen, hallelujah. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost friend. You can call me Betty, and Betty, I call you Al. Something like that. Thank you, Paul Simon, for that. Next show, it will be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Enjoy your day. It is cold today. Hear that wind blow. I said, hear that wind blow. I said, hear that wind blow. Thank you. Yeah, it's really blowing. The wind is roaring. And yeah, it's one of those days here in the Bay Area. It got cold after that hot, hot heat over the weekend. Enjoy your day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!
Aftermath.